2023. At this time, we are going to Commissioner Covo, I believe you have some.
So good morning. Today is a very special day because I am going to give 2 proclamations to not only colleagues, but people who actually work all day to keep us informed and that have amazing media careers. The first one is for Lien Lopez. A little bit about Lien, 10 years. She was a producer and host of a weekly television show that aired on WLRN. The program highlighted the careers of executives, elected officials, entrepreneurs. She also hosted a business meeting with Lily Lopez, and she's been a part of this community, not only promoting economical development, but also informing us. That's why I'm giving her this proclamation today. And the second proclamation for today, it's for Miami Today. 40 years of service. This year is the anniversary. Miami Today has served the community in its print edition, its digital replica edition, and at the end of May, Miami Today will publish its annual glossy supplement, appropriately titled The Best of Miami. Founder, publisher, and editor Michael Lewis, a native of Chicago, is a career newspaper editor in major publications for 45 years, and we want to congratulate them for their 40-year anniversary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We have to take a picture.
Good morning. I am here to give a proclamation for Earth Day, and I'm going to ask the following people to come up: Quantisha and Juvenal Santana, and whoever else is here from your department, if you would come up, please. I am here on behalf of Mayor Francis Suarez in honor of giving you this proclamation for Earth Day. And in honor of Earth Day, the City of Miami has implemented all various programs that encourage communities to take steps forward and create a green economy. And for that, we're going to say Saturday, the 22nd day of April in the year of 2023, is Earth Day in the City of Miami, and we thank you for all of the work that you do to keep us in an environment that is safe for the City of Miami, and we would like to present this proclamation to you on behalf of the city and its constituents.
Would you like to say something?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Juvenal Santana, Director, Department of Resilience and Public Works. This is an annual event for us, and we put it together in collaboration across different departments. The Parks Department, where Chris isn't up here, but we're going to be setting up tree giveaways at parks throughout every commission district over the course of a few weekends. And a lot of that is also coming through our tree trust fund, so that's stuff that is managed through our Office of Management and Budget. So working across different departments, we're able to put this together and really recognize the fact that we need to protect Mother Earth, and we've been planting thousands of trees over the last 5 years, and we've got another several thousand now that are going to be put in. So we're definitely doing something and working hard to get that accomplished. So so we appreciate it, and we will do our best to continue to take care of our one and only planet.
This concludes our proclamations portion of the presentations. At this time, we are going to have our invocation by Pastor Terrell Matthews of 54th Street Ministries. Good morning, Pastor. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. I thank God. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Pastor Terrell Matthews, 54th Street Ministry in the heart of Liberty City. I was born in Alabama, but I've lived in Miami for 64 of my 70 years. I grew up in this community. And a lot of my friends are leaving sometime for economical reasons, but they're trying to convince me to leave Miami, but I can't. You know why? I love Miami. I love Miami. So I have this imaginary prayer box, Commissioner King. I'm going to put your name right in there, and all the other dignitaries and everybody in their respective places. And also, if I didn't call your name, I don't know if you went to the concert last week with Tasha Cobb, and she said, he knows my name, so your name is going in there also. Let us bow our heads. Oh, Heavenly Father, we do thank you for this day that you made, that we may live and rejoice therein. Father God, we ask you, Lord, to touch the hearts and the mind of everyone that came out to make this event a joyful one. Father God, we ask you in the name of your Son, Father God, that you will lift up those that are here this morning, those that you have called by their name to lead us, those that we voted for, those that sacrifice, those that in the community laboring from day to day. Father God, we ask you to strengthen them. Lord, we ask you to give us a mind to come together in our community, that we will build up a better Miami, this little piece of paradise that you have blessed us with. And Father God, as our prayers go up, we ask you, Lord, to remind us of the ones that are less fortunate. Father God, that we will represent them. Lord, that we have been called out to be leaders. Father God, that we will lead them in a godly manner. Father God, again, we thank you, Lord, for the teachers. We thank you, Lord, for our law enforcement officers. We thank you, Lord, for everyone that participate in this wonderful place that we call Miami. Father God, we ask you, Lord, to strengthen them as they go from day to day. We do thank you, Lord. Most of all, God, we just ask you and thank you for shining on this lovely place, and give us the mind that we may cultivate a place that we can live in, that we can work in, and we can retire in. We thank you, Father, in the name of your Son. Most of all, God, we stand on your promises that my people that are called by my name, if they will humble themselves and pray, and then turn away from their wicked ways and seek me, and then we will hear from heaven. Father God, if you would do these things that we request, we will forever give you the honor and give you the praises. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Commissioner Reyes, would you honor us in the Pledge of Allegiance? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I believe our city attorney has a statement to read for the record.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Detailed information about processes, order of business, rules of procedure, the scheduling, rescheduling of city commission meetings can be found in Chapter 2, Article 2 of the City Code. A copy is available online at www.municode.com. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the city clerk and comply with the related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the city commission. A person may not lobby a city commissioner, board member, staff member, city official until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the city clerk's office or online at www.municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the city commission concerning real property may make the disclosures required by the city code in writing. A copy of this code section is available at the office of the city clerk or online at www.municode.com. The City of Miami requires that anyone requesting action by the City Commission must disclose before the hearing any consideration provided or committed to anyone for agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested action pursuant to City Code Section 2-8. Any documents offered to the City Commission that have not been provided 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda materials will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion in accordance with Section 2-33 F and G of the City Code. The agenda and the material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at www.miamigov.com. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chair. Public comment will begin at approximately 9 a.m. and remain open until public comment is closed by the chair. Members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by submitting written comments via the online comment form. Please visit www.miamigov.com/meeting instructions for detailed instructions on how to provide public comment using the public comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been and will be distributed to elected officials, their staff, and city administration throughout the day, so the elected officials may consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept all comments and distribute to the elected officials, their staff, and the city administration up until the chair closes public comment. Public comment may also be provided live here at City Hall, located at 3500 Pan American Drive, Miami, Florida, subject to any and all city rules as they may be amended. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the member of the public must first state their name, address, and what item will be spoken about. Any person requiring disability assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the city clerk. The city has provided different public comment methods to indicate, among other things, the public support, opposition, or neutrality on items and topics to be discussed at the City Commission meeting in compliance with Section 286.0114 Florida statutes. The public has also been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting and within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. Please note, commissioners have generally been briefed by city staff and the city attorney on items on the agenda today. Anyone wishing a verbatim record of an item considered at the meeting may request it at the Office of Communications or view it online at www.miamigov.com. PZ items shall proceed according to Section 7.1.4 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance. Parties for any PZ items, including any applicant, appellant, appellee, city staff, and any member recognized by the decision-making body as a qualified intervener, as well as the applicant's representatives and any experts testifying on behalf of the applicant, appellant, or appellee, may either be physically present at City Hall to be sworn in by oath or affirmation by the city clerk and make arrangements to be sworn in by oath or affirmation in person. The members of the City Commission shall disclose any communications pursuant to Florida Statute 286.0115 and Section 7.1.45 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance. The order of presentation shall be as set forth in Miami 21 and the City Code. Staff will briefly present each item to be heard. The applicant will present its application or request to the City Commission. If the applicant agrees with staff recommendation, the City Commission may proceed to its deliberation and decision. The applicant may also waive the right to an evidentiary hearing on the record. For appeals, the appellant will present its appeal to the City Commission, followed by the appellee. Staff will be allowed to make any recommendation they may have. Please silence all cell phones and other noise-making devices at this time. This meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV, the city's Facebook page, the city's Twitter page, the city's YouTube channel, and Comcast Channel 77. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Clerk?
Thank you, Chair. The procedures for individually providing testimony to be sworn in for the planning and zoning items and any quasi-judicial items on today's commission agenda will be as follows. The members of city staff or any other individuals required to be sworn in or currently present at City Hall will be sworn in by me, the city clerk, immediately after I finish these procedures. Commissioners, are you comfortable with the notice provisions set forth in these uniform rules of procedures we have established for this meeting? Chair, is it okay if I now administer the oath with planning and zoning items?
Please.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If you'll be speaking on any of today's planning and zoning items, may I please have you stand and raise your right hand. And that's just for the planning and zoning items. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at today's hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And your response is? Thank you, Chair.
At this time, Mr. City Manager, do you need, are there any items that will be deferred or withdrawn?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Madam City Attorney, Mr. City Clerk. This time, the administration would like to defer and/or withdraw the following items. PH1 to be deferred to April 27th. RE8 to be indefinitely deferred. FR2 to be indefinitely deferred. On the PZ agenda, PZ1 to be deferred to May 11th. PZ2 to be deferred to May 11th. PZ3 to be deferred to May 11th. And PZ6 to be deferred to May 11th. Also on the PZ agenda, the chairwoman has requested that she be added as a sponsor for PZs 9 and 10. That concludes the plasma.
Vice Chair, are there any items that you would like to defer or withdraw? Commissioner?
Not at this point.
I would like to add a pocket item
Okay.
to discuss flooding. I would want to report from the administration regarding what we've been going through for the past 3 days and a possibility of a plan before hurricane season starts on June 1st.
So that would be pocket item 1.
Whenever, Madam Chair, you feel it's appropriate for us to discuss it.
Pocket item 1.
That would be good. And Commissioner Cobo, if I could give you a friendly amendment, if you don't have it in your pocket item already, that you request from the administration all the different sewers that have been pumped by our trucks so far, and how many more are in each of our districts they are to finish pumping out. Because as you know, what happens is throughout the year, stuff that is thrown in the streets, and then just regular dirt amasses and goes down into the sewers. And if we don't clean them, they get clogged up right away.
Okay.
So that's important.
Good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
May I have a motion to set the agenda?
Move.
Madam Chair, I believe there's a second pocket item.
Okay.
Yes, I have a pocket item, which is very favorable to us, is authorizing us to receive some funds.
That's right.
And could you please read it, Madam?
Yes, it's a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept, budget, allocate, and appropriate a total of $4 million in funds appropriated by the United States of America Department of Housing and Urban Development from the Community Development Fund to the City of Miami. And it's also in all forms, except further authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute agreements with the federal government and use the federally appropriated funds, further authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute any other necessary documents, renewals, extensions, modifications, all in forms acceptable to the city attorney for the implementation of and compliance with agreements for federal appropriated funds, and ratifying, approving, and confirming certain necessary actions by the city manager and designated city departments in order to update the operating budget, capital plan, relevant financial controls, and computer systems in connection with, for the project closeouts and grants and other funding sources in progress in connection herewith.
At this time, may I have a motion to accept the agenda?
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And Chair, just for the record, PZ10 incorrectly shows District 4 as a sponsor. District 4 needs to be shown as a sponsor for PZ9.
That's right, that was incorrect.
Okay. Now, may I have a motion to approve the minutes for February 9th and
Move.
February 23rd?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, we will have our public appearances. There's 2 personal appearances. Elvis Cruz. Good morning, Mr. Cruz.
Good morning. How are you? If I could get the control people to put up my power. Okay, here we go. May I begin? Thank you.
Please.
Good morning. The Baywalk Ordinance passed a year ago with 13 pictures of possible designs, every one placing the seawall at the shoreline as it should be. But the plan for Morningside Park puts the seawall 23 to 77 feet inland. That conflict was supposed to be on your April 28th, 2022 agenda 12 months ago. Instead, the city dragged its feet for a year. Morningside's shoreline is eroding, but the plan won't fix that. Here's the plan. Here's the shoreline. Here's ground level. This line is the king tide, causing flooding and erosion. That area floods, and with no seawall, it would only get worse as sea level rises. Here's the planned seawall set back 23 feet. In other areas of the park, it would be set back 77 feet, 3 times farther. So instead of protecting the waterfront, this plan surrenders 80,000 square feet of precious public waterfront to sea level rise, storm surge, flooding, and erosion. Seawalls exist to protect the waterfront, but here the city wants to use the waterfront to protect the seawall. Yes, it's backwards. The plan has other problems. Here's where the old pool was, where a majority wants the new pool to be built, but this plan blocks that. Here's the concession building. It's by the bay, but because the plan puts the seawall inland, it would not be protected from sea level rise. The plan wastefully demolishes, moves, and rebuilds only half the loop road. It does not respect the historic design of an elegant, scenic, divided driveway with a central landscaped median. It also needlessly demolishes, moves, and rebuilds the pool area parking lot. These trees are next to the loop road, some 40 feet tall, planted in 1953. These 4 would be cut down. The seawall has 18-foot-long steel pilings that would be hammered into the ground. These large trees would stay, but the pilings would be like a guillotine, cutting 30 to 35% of their roots. If they survive, they could be blown over by high winds. The 6-foot wide walkway has worked fine for 69 years. This is a low traffic area surrounded by single family homes, yet the plan calls for a 15-foot wide walkway. That's a lot of bayfront grass turned into hot pavement. We now have a wonderful grassy open waterfront where the public can walk, lay a picnic blanket, and play. Instead, the plan calls for many high-maintenance plants that would obstruct the waterfront. Those plants were tried before in Morningside Park. Weeds took over, but the city staff does not pull weeds. They use weed eaters and lawnmowers. Soon, the plants were all gone, a total waste of money. Here is what makes sense and what the public wants: a seawall along the shoreline like you've done at other parks. This would protect the entire park, like you did in 2020 at Pallet Park, like you did in 2022 at Wainwright Park. During planning meetings, the city showed us seawalls at the sea, and this slide promoting the seawall ordinance with seawalls at the sea. What do your constituents want? This petition has 2,100 signatures asking for the park's facilities to be preserved, including the Loop Road. A survey of all 420 households in Morningside had a response of 58% keeping the Loop Road as is. The city's PowerPoint shows the public asked to keep the park's character, keep the Loop Road, and keep the park as is, with repairs as needed. No one asked for the seawall to be set back into the park. Commissioner Russell hosted a meeting and asked if we wanted to keep the Loop Road, and 90% voted to keep it as is. A second petition has 491 signatures so far, specifically asking for a seawall at the shoreline and keeping the Loop Road as is. The association did a poll last year that did approve the plan, but that poll only went to paid members. Out of 420 houses in Morningside, only 35 voted in the last election. These are the official results, 35 out of 420. A small minority wants the current plan, but Morningside Park belongs to the entire city. Any shoreline mangroves can be mitigated, like this document shows you did at the Marine Stadium and you did at Pallet Park. Besides, Morningside already has 2.5 acres of mangrove swamp in the middle of the park. I met with Daniel Malland and Jonathan Raffi, whom you'll hear from next. We agreed marsh grass can be a problem, and they want more access to the water. So a good compromise. Have the seawall curve inward in 3 or 4 spots to create access areas and kayak ramps. They also don't want construction delay, and nor do I, but it's the city that dragged its feet for a year, the city who planned things the public did not ask for and does not want, a wasteful plan that goes against the city's own design concepts, would not protect the shoreline or the concession building, prevents the new pool from being built in the same place, removes full-grown trees, and would be more expensive with higher maintenance. Getting it right is much more important than getting it done right away. Item RE3 is funding for the shoreline, even though the city told us they'd have another public meeting before moving forward with a plan. Please pass RE3 with requirements to put the seawall along the shoreline with 3 or 4 access areas, keep the Loop Road and pool location as is, because that's what your constituents want, and make the walkway 6 feet wide to maximize green space. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elvis.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And at this time, we will have a personal appearance by Daniel Malin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yep, there we go. My name is Daniel Malin, and Jonathan Raffi is with me as well. We're going to try and make this efficient and go jointly together for the sake of time. So Daniel Malin, 478 Northeast 56th Street. I am a volunteer elected member of the MCA board, and I'm the volunteer head of our Parks Committee.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Raffi. I'm also an MCA elected board member and the current treasurer of the MCA. I live at 499 Northeast 55th Terrace. Sure. So first off, we just wanted to thank the chairwoman, the vice chair, and all the commissioners, mayor, manager, and staff for your ongoing support of Morningside Park and the community. As you've discussed on many occasions, the park is in desperate need of repair. There's constant flooding, stormwater issues, And we really appreciate all the previous resolutions that you've passed to support the park. And we're here today asking for your support for RE3, funding for the Morningside Park Shoreline Plan, and to continue to support the park. We have a letter that we want to read into the record from the MCA Board. We write on behalf of the Morningside Civic Association, MCA, and the hundreds of families that are members to thank the City Commission for its continued investment in plans for improvement for Morningside Park, and in particular its shoreline. On April 11th, 2023, the MCA Board passed a vote supporting the City Commission's consideration and approval of RE3 as set on today's City Commission agenda. As a reminder, in March 2022, the MCA conducted a survey of the Morningside neighborhood and learned that 75% of respondents supported the proposed general improvement plan for the park, 86% asked for increased drainage and flooding alleviation measures to be implemented, and 65% encouraged the updating and improvements of the living shoreline. A copy of the survey results were provided to the City Commission on March 10th, 2022. The City Commission approved agenda item RE7, which became Resolution 22-0116, greenlighting the improvement of Morningside Park shoreline and the removal of its old dilapidated pool structure. Over the course of last year, the MCA has had numerous discussions with the city regarding its plans for improving the shoreline of Morningside Park. The MCA has been encouraged by the city's engagement of talented experts to formulate a plan to both maintain the original living shoreline in keeping with the original design intention of the park, while adding flooding protection and drainage measures to not only protect the park, but the neighborhood at large. The planned trifecta of 1, improving the living shoreline, while 2, adding increased drainage, and 3, adding flooding protection will allow the park to resume normal operations and permit general enjoyment faster after a flooding event for years and generations to come. We strongly support the city's plan to increase ADA accessibility to the shoreline via new trailways and walkways. In the words of one of our members, we are so lucky to have this wonderful waterfront park with its bay views and open waterfront green space. And we deeply value the city and the City Commission's hard work and investment in preserving and improving this incredible resource for generations to come. Thank you for your attention to Morningside Park and for your consideration and hopeful approval of RE3 today. Thank you.
Very quickly, on behalf of the Parks Committee of the MCA, we wouldn't be here today were it not for years of hard work between the city and this commission in getting to this point. This is something that we were here before you a year ago, and I have a stack of letters dating back to 2016 that have been submitted with regards to the park. And during a week like this, where we've seen such tremendous rain, it really speaks to the need for remediation and improvement. And this financing step in RE3 is a big step in that direction and a sign of the tremendous work that's been accomplished by you all. And we thank you very much for that and ask for your continued support. Thank you again for your attention to the park. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. And at this time, I'm going to open the public comment for our agenda items being heard today, to include pocket item 1 and pocket item 2.
Hi, my name is Rachel First. I live at 570 Northeast 57th Street, and I'm here to speak in favor of RE3, which is the Morningside Park funding resolution, grant resolution. I am the immediate past president of the Civic Association for 3 years, and I've been on the board for many years. And so I just want to take a little bit of my time to note that although the reason we had such a low turnout in the last election is because it was unopposed. We have a really strong active board, we have hundreds of members, and there wasn't a lot of opposition in that election, so not a lot of people showed up. But I've been coming down here for about 5 years to speak in favor of Morningside Park and to get funding. It is an incredible city asset. It is beloved not only by residents, but people from all over the city. And we would just really like to see the city invest in this park, invest in its future, make sure that it's sustainable, that it's protected from the rising tides and flooding, and not to derail the train that city staff has been working so hard on. So please support this park, support the families who use and love the park, and let's just make it better and save it for the future. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Jacqueline Kreiger-Degwitz. I live on 690 Northeast 50th Terrace, and I'm also here to support the plan of RE3. And I want to already thank you that you are going to approve that we finally get to do it. It's a wonderful project. I think it's a great thing. And so I am very grateful to all of you that this is going to go through and that we can finally go and improve our beautiful park. And it's such a beautiful park. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
My name is Zach Friedman. I live at 430 Northeast 51st Street. I've lived in Morningside since 2018. I have 2 young kids. We take them to the park all the time. We have this beautiful resource in the neighborhood that we're unable to use far too often because the flooding is such an issue after heavy rains. So I'm in support of RE3. Anything that can be done to mitigate the flooding, to continue, to provide access to the shoreline through the Living Shore Plan, I'm in support of, and we really appreciate, your attention to this issue, and hopefully we can get this done and supported, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Alex Uribe, 4131 Barbarossa Avenue, not here representing anybody today, just myself. I want to speak in support of PI1. Flooding is a major problem. It affects so many people across the city, and I hope to see the city take more aggressive action to combat it, and I would fully support Commissioner Covo's pocket item. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Marisa Capua. I'm here on RE3. I'm a Morningside resident living at 5500 Northeast 7th Avenue. And I'm here to support the grant for the improvement to Morningside Park. We live, my husband and I, and our 2 children, live directly in front of the park. So we're directly impacted by the current condition. We'd love to see it improved, and we'd love to see the usability of it enhanced and improved. I'm also a native of Miami, I have to throw that in. And so I'm very sensitive to changes that are happening in Miami. And this one I really see as a great improvement. It'll enhance the bay view, the usability of the park for not just Morningside residents, but for the city of Miami. And so again, I'm here to fully support that project. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, Commissioners. Victor Hernandez, 5500 Northeast 7th Avenue, my wife Marisa. We're strongly in support of RE3. The park has gone through issues of change slowly over the years, but it has not kept up with the seawater issues. It has not kept up with the drainage issues, with the dovetails, with other parts, other city improvement programs that are coming along. We've watched this park go through many applications for change. They've all been derailed and slowed down over time with a lot of misinformation that's gone out between different factions within the neighbors. But I can tell you this, the neighborhood overwhelmingly supports this going through, this funding going through, and the seawall and natural restoration of the park. Whether we lose some parts of the loop road, move facilities around, isn't as material as protecting the neighborhood in the long run and creating a place where we can enjoy this with our families, and so can all the other city residents come in and enjoy this park for years to come. So we strongly support you guys approving the funding and moving this forward. And thank you for your help with this.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the City Commission. My name is Marlo Courtney with Goldman Properties, 310 Northwest 26th Street in Wynwood, and I'm here to request your support for item RE7, the recertification of the Wynwood Business Improvement District. I have been with Goldman Properties for over 4 decades, worked side by side with Tony Goldman as we discovered the Wynwood neighborhood in 2004, which at that time was a warehouse district. I participated in the formation of the Wynwood bid many years ago, along with my neighbors and esteemed colleagues, David Lombardi, Albert Garcia, our former chairman, Irving Lerner, David Polinsky, and so many others over the years. and I previously served as vice chairman for the Wynwood Business Improvement District. In July 2013, the Wynwood bid was established as an agency of the City of Miami by an overwhelming majority of the property owners and with City Commission approval. Here we are, 10 years later, and Wynwood is on the global map as one of the most creative, interesting, and successful neighborhoods in the world. We are in a neighborhood where adaptive repurposing of single-story buildings and mid-scale residential and commercial development is embraced by street art, along with unique retail and creative food and beverage establishments. For example, Zach the Baker, Panther Coffee, Walt Grace Cars and Guitars, Oasis, Andoya, and of course, the Wynwood Walls, which is one of the major visitor attractions in all of South Florida. Much of the success is due to our partnership and constant interaction with the City of Miami Commission, City Administration, and the numerous city departments. Our Board of Directors and Bid Office, led by our Executive Director, Manny Gonzalez,
Thank you.
works constantly. Please support the bid recertification.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Barbara Lang. I live in 3901 Braganza Avenue in Coconut Grove. And I know. Good to see you here. You too. Thank you. You're probably wondering why I'm here from Coconut Grove on the Morningside issue, but Elvis was here one time, and I said, this sounds like a nice plan. Why are you against it? And he said, well, why don't you go look at the park? And I did, and I took a friend of mine who used to live in the area, and she said, oh, I learned how to swim in the swimming pool, and it was beautiful. There were people on the seawall. There was a grandfather and a father fishing. There were people on the picnic tables under a palm tree picnicking. And I honestly don't know why you want to spend the money to change this park. I think it should be left alone, and that's why I'm here. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair and the City Commission. My name is Diego Ojeda, 1200 Brickell Avenue, Suite 1200. My family, via our company, the Relea Group, have been investing and developing in South Florida for over 40 years. We own a city block, nearly a city block in Wynwood, and I'm here to recommend that you please lend your support to RE7 for the reaffirmation of the Wynwood bid. I am part of the Wynwood bid, and it is because of that entity and what it is doing for the neighborhood that we have decided to invest in the neighborhood. We are going to be building hundreds of apartments, creating hundreds of thousands of jobs, and a lot of it is thanks to the Wynwood bid. Under the guidance of Manny Gonzalez, the city is planning and how it should, and it's now the most visited neighborhood in Miami, and I believe it's thanks to the Wynwood bid. So just asking for your recommendation. Thank you very much.
Is it a big block or a small block?
I'm sorry?
Is it a big block that you own or a small block?
We own, it's between North Miami Ave and Train Tracks, 29th and 28th. Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. My name is David Lerner. I'm in support of RE7. I'm a Wynwood Bid Board member. I'm a third-generation property owner in the neighborhood. My family has been in Wynwood for more than 60 years, and we own about 100,000 square feet of commercial space. We've seen our best years over the last 10 years in the neighborhood with support of the bid, in partnership with local government, our property owners, and local businesses. With it, Wynwood has become one of the most trafficked, safest, and enjoyed neighborhoods in the city, the country, maybe even the world. I'm in support to recertify the bid's work in Wynwood for another 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning, esteemed commissioners. Great to be here. 100 Northeast 84th Street, Family Action Network Movement. And we're speaking out, raising certain objections to RE3. So the Family Action Network movement lends its voice in support of local civic leaders and concerned citizens in recommending sensible policies regarding the Morningside Park shoreline. I think we can all agree about the imperatives of sea level rise and storm surge. However, as proposed, it's likely to result in the opposite effect in terms of the current city's plan of protecting the shoreline. So the proposed action, in our view, is counter to the entire purpose for initiating the project. A solution that we are proposing matches what has successfully been implemented at Alice Wainwright, Bayfront, Baywood, Albert Pelot, and other waterfront parks. The seawall should be installed along the shoreline with the inclusion of some kayak ramps. A new pool should be built where the original pool was. The concession building needs to be protected by the seawall, which will not interfere with the construction of the pool in the location that we are proposing it to be built. The seawall should be erected in a way that does not demolish any existing facilities or structures, such as the loop road or the pool parking lot. Let us use our taxpayer dollars optimally. So the two specific recommendations that we are formulating here, first of all, as part of the motion to approve the funding, please require the seawall be along the shoreline, not set back inland, except for some kayak ramps. Please keep the loop road and the pool parking area intact, so the new pool can go in the same place as the old pool, and the walkway does not need to be 15 feet wide. It should only be 6 feet wide as it is now. This is a low-traffic area surrounded by single-family homes, not downtown high-rises. We should not lose all the waterfront green space to hard pavement. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. Patrick Range, with offices at 5727 Northwest 17th Avenue, in the city of Miami. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here this morning to speak on item RE12, and I was also here to speak on item PH1, which I understand has been withdrawn by the administration. Just wanted to, again, encourage this commission, this body, to consider the restoration of the Virginia Key Beach Park Trust, a group of citizens for which the trust was created to have citizen input, citizen stewardship over this park, which has such historical significance, such ecological and environmental significance. I come before you today to again say that we are here. We've been awaiting a meeting of the trust to happen so that we could provide input. To my understanding and belief, I don't believe that there has been a meeting that has taken place as yet of the Virginia Key Beach Trust, new Virginia Key Beach Trust Board. Difficult to do, I can imagine. I encourage you, the community is here to work in this regard again. We'd ask that you reconsider us to continue to work on this city's behalf. You all as the commission have had oversight over the trust. You would continue to have this oversight, have the opportunity for your input, and to help move this project along, which is what is needed, the political will to move this project along. So we see item RE12 here on the agenda to begin to engage in an interlocal agreement between the city and the county, which is exactly what we need in terms of receiving the monies from the county GOB. However, the cart is coming before the horse. There was to be a plan put forth to the county for what would take place as far as the museum is concerned. My understanding also, Madam Chair, is there was to be a community meeting to take place to discuss this plan, to give the opportunity for the community to have input. These things, to my knowledge, have yet to take place. And so we just ask again, this is a community project, this is a community park. The community wants and needs to be involved. Please consider restoring the trust for these purposes.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to suspend the public comments. We have a time certain item. I'd like to call up our Congresswoman Frederica Wilson. She's going to make a presentation.
Now, you want me to speak up here?
Congresswoman, so good to see you. So good to see you. You look beautiful as usual.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
How are you doing?
How are you? Okay, okay.
So nice to see you.
Is this normal? Yes, it is. Okay, let me see how I can manage this. Let me say, this is a pleasure to be here today. And want to say good morning to our commissioners and to our chairwoman King. And I want to give a special congratulations and welcome to our newest commissioner, Commissioner Cole. We had several conversations and I'm looking forward to working with her. For the past 30 years, I've been proudly representing the city of Miami. And let me tell you, it never gets old fighting for this community. Throughout my years on the school board, the state legislature, the state senate, where's my, he was there with me, and now in Congress, it's a true privilege to have delivered for our community, which has given me everything. And I'm so proud to be your representative. I've dedicated my career to fighting for my constituents. I fought so hard that my mantra, and I became known as Fight, Freddie, Fight. If you want something done, tell Freddie and she will get it done because she will never stop fighting. And it's been the honor of my lifetime to give back to the city of Miami and fight for you every day. The children, the seniors, the sick, the prisoners, the lost, the left out, every one of you. These last 2 years, they brought back earmarks. You know, President Obama got rid of earmarks. And so my first years in Congress, I was just relegated to the regular appropriations process. So President Biden and my Congress brought back earmarks, and we have been able to really boost funding to our communities. I've had the opportunity to secure millions of dollars in community project funding that's earmarked for the city. So today I stand committed to, as ever, to making this city and our neighborhood, and now I represent even the whole Miami Beach, the coastal area. I represent from Aventura all the way down to Fisher Island, so they're getting money too. That's why today I'm delivering yet again on my commitment to the city of Miami, and I'm presenting a $4.7 million check. These funds will be dedicated to 2 projects in the city of Miami. The first is for the construction of a permanent COVID-19 memorial right in the heart of Liberty City in Sommernoff Floral Park. And let me tell you this. My district and the city of Miami was the hardest hit area during the COVID-19 debacle. We lost thousands and thousands of people. And while everyone else was sheltering at home and working from home, my district staff was working to find the appropriate people to convince my district to be vaccinated, to take advantage of what was happening to cure this terrible terrible disease, this novel coronavirus that none of us knew about, that just came from nowhere and was just killing. Our funeral directors were calling us, asking us to help bury people. They had so many bodies, they had to rent refrigerated trucks to store the bodies. There were people who lost their grandparents. They could not go to the funeral. There were people who died in hospitals and nursing homes and couldn't even receive a visitor to come and visit with them or hold their hand. So we were working so hard. So I decided to bring comfort to my district. I set up a mock cemetery right on that park. It's on 54th Street, across the street from the Church of the Incarnation. And I started with 100 placards for the cemetery, like mock headstones. And the people kept dying, and the people kept dying. And we ended with 2,000 placards across that whole park. And it just so happens, I see the gentleman here, Leroy, the Circle of Brotherhood, who was out there helping me put these placards in place. And people would stop and go to those placards and write the names of their loved ones with markers and write messages. These were families who didn't have the opportunity to say goodbye to their loved ones. So it was just wonderful. It was on the front page of the New York Times. The president even talked about it in his remarks. So we're going to set up, Christine, right in the heart of your district, this memorial, and it's going to be beautiful with marble and glass and a torch, and people will never forget. And let me tell you this, city of Miami, this little part about it. Some of the guys in Congress from New York, I saw them trying to pass a resolution. And the resolution was to get Congress to establish the very first COVID memorial in New York. And I said, we're one step ahead of you. We don't need Congress's permission. We already have permission, and we already have the design, we already have the money, and so they won't have the first COVID memorial. They might have the second, but we're going to have the first right here in the city of Miami. And so we also, let me see, you know I could talk forever. And so, let me see what's next. Additionally, we're presenting to Commissioner Reyes an earmark of $1 million, and it's going to help fund park improvements, including the construction of a new community center at Douglas Park in Coconut Grove. Douglas Park is a focal point for the Grove, for that community, and an active community park, which has trails. We're going to put trails, bike paths, and shelters for our families to enjoy. Making sure this green space stays up to date for children and families is crucial. So we're going to get to work on keeping the Magic City magical. And I look forward to working with you. I just saw Ms. Range's son, Mr. Patrick, speaking here. And I want you to know that I'm having conversations with Christine right now to upgrade the Range Park, the Range right in the heart of Liberty City. It's time for that. And also, right in the heart of Liberty City. We have a campus of Miami-Dade College that was named after Congresswoman Carrie Meek. And some little children met me in the street and they said, Miss Wilson, you know, the computers don't work. I said, the computers don't work? They say, no, they don't work. We can't use the computer. So we have an earmark going to that particular branch of Miami-Dade College too. Those are two women whose shoulders we stand. Atherley Range, M. Atherley Range, who I named part of Biscayne Boulevard after, and Carrie Meek. So Miss Christine right here, that's in your district, and I've been working already. We put, I know she's gonna kill us. We have been working so hard already for Coconut Grove and for our new little designation of Little Bahamas. And we look forward to continuing that. And there are some real permitting issues that I'm gonna have to get my buddy here to help me get all of this through to make sure, because I know how politics works around here. You know, I've been in politics a long time. So thank you so much for inviting me here today. It's such a pleasure, and I look forward to working with you over and over again so we can leave a true legacy for our children and for children yet unborn. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sure. We're going to bring this down because, okay, you want it? Okay. Yeah, we can say a few words. We can say a few. I want to thank my, okay. Madam Chair, can I say a couple of words? You see, this is extremely important. This is a great example. How can we work together? See, even we are receiving this. It's not even in your district, but you took care. And as you said, you asked Freddie, and Freddie delivers. I asked, and you did. And this is a testament that Miami is one city, one people. You see, we got to work together. We're in the same boat. Doesn't matter if you're from this district, the other district, if you are whatever you are, if you are Afro-American, Cuban, whatever you are, we got to all work together because we are in the same boat. Either we row together or we go nowhere. And I congratulate you for being such a leader. And I'm real proud to call you my friend. Thank you very much.
If there's ever been an example of a true public servant, it's right here, Congresswoman Frederica Wilson. She has been a public servant since day one. I don't want to remember so far back, but since I was a real young commissioner, not an old one like now, I've known the Congresswoman. We've worked together. Then when I got elected mayor, re-elected mayor, we worked very closely together. And here we are again. The only problem that I have is that, and I'm jealous, how come she still looks so good and I look like this? You got to give me the secret. She's like a fine bottle of wine. She just keeps getting better in age. But I have witnessed what she has done, not just for the African American community, but for all of Miami as a whole. What she has done for so many young men to make sure that they have mentors, that they are going to go down the right path. The angels praise her every day, and so many mothers do also. But for that and so much more, and for the latest that you're doing for our city, we say thank you. May God bless you and keep you here for a long, long, long time, Frederica. God bless you.
So I spent over a decade in the Florida House of Representatives and the Florida Senate working side by side with you. And I always remember that you would always fight for every constituent in Florida. It wasn't only about your district. I remember when the 500 role models became the 5,000 role models, and now it's like 50,000 role models, and how many children you have mentored, girls and boys, and how you taught them, and how you taught them to be leaders and to give back to their community by example and by organizations that you formed and by finding funding throughout Tallahassee and throughout Washington now. So your record speaks for itself. I'm very, very proud to have been your colleague. Every time I see you, like Commissioner Carollo said, you seem to get younger and we seem to get older. But your energy, your efforts, your intelligence, your grit, and your relentless, tireless fight for people that don't have a voice is something that's to be commended. So, Congresswoman, thank you for coming here for this and for so much more you do that we don't have the time to talk about. But congratulations and thank you for helping our city and your city.
As one of the newest members and the only woman of color, I have to say thank you for your mentorship. Because from the moment I got elected and before, you were giving me advice and letting me know that I'm going to be all right. And providing this for my district, these funds to honor our families that we lost during COVID, means so much to the families. But what you do, I was watching you on the news yesterday with the club at the school, and you were addressing me and my brother because we were latchkey kids, and we had to go home and lock ourselves up until our mom got home, single parent. So the things that you think about, the generosity, the empathy that you have for your constituents, for families, for children, that is something to be mirrored, to mimic, to piggyback on, because you really do set the example for us women. And I so appreciate you and appreciate you taking the time to set me right and give me advice.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Congresswoman, I've known you and I followed you first as a reporter for a very long time. Always admired you, covered many stories in where I went to interview you, then followed you as a candidate. You're an inspiration. I said one time when I was writing a column for the Miami Herald, when I used to write for the paper, I said, we need more women in office. And you were a role model towards this moment. I am also very thankful regarding your support for the Little Bahamas. It's going to be extremely important. We all know that our neighborhood deserves it. We need beautification. We need more community engagement. We need a better community center. So we have a lot of things, and I don't want to be here doing all the petitions. We've been in conversation already. But thank you. Thank you so much.
At this time, we're going to resume public comment. Good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is David Lombardi, 160 Northwest 26th Street. I'm speaking on the Wynwood bid renewal. I was one of the 7 founding bid board members 10 years ago. I'm very proud to tell you that the progress we've seen over these 10 years in the neighborhood, we want to continue that pace. We always envisioned the neighborhood as a place to live, work, and play. In 2005, I built the first live-work units in the neighborhood, ground up, called Wynwood Lofts. And my vision was that it should be a place where you could have office, living, restaurants, dining, and entertainment. And it's really coming to fruition based on what we've accomplished these past 10 years. And I ask that you please vote for the renewal. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, commissioners and city officials. My name is Brigitte Grosjean. I live on East 61st Street by the Bay for 8 years, and I'm now a dog walker. Well, take care of dogs. Anyway, Alain Danvers, who's a Morningside neighbor, wrote this, and I thought it was better than mine. Dear commissioners and city officials, regarding item RE3, the Morningside Park shoreline, the park does flood from time to time due to it doing its job draining the city streets west of the park, not due to storm surge nor sea level rise. Building a seawall will obstruct this natural drainage and create worse flooding. In mitigation of a side effect, you plan to spend millions in building a 43-acre drainage system. The City Parks Department and Public Works have already demonstrated that they are incapable of maintaining even a swimming pool, let alone this complex multi-million-dollar pump and drain system. It will take, by estimates, 3 to 4 years to build, while completely destroying the park and cost tens of millions. Why? We need public shoreline access to the bay for humans and for wildlife. No seawall, keep loop road, keep parking as it is, keep direct access to and egress from the bay for people and animals via a proper shoreline, not more concrete. The walkway does not need to be 15 feet wide. It need be only the 6 feet wide as it is now. This is a low traffic area surrounded by single family homes, not downtown high rises. We should not lose all that waterfront green space to hard pavement, approximately 80,000 square feet or nearly 2 acres of prime bayfront owned by the citizens of Miami. Monetary value at current rates, $18 million, utility value incalculable. That's it?
Thank you.
And I love the park. I go in the park every day with my dogs. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, I'm Kim Ryan. I live at 651 Northeast 60th Street, in one of the two condominiums in Morningside. I'm here as the secretary of the Association of Morningside Palms Condo to represent my friends in the building who also agree to support RE3 in order to keep the park the way it is, but to mitigate flooding. I thank you for all the work you do, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Chair, if I just have the speaker's name, I'm sorry. Ma'am?
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 Your name?
Oh, I'm sorry, Kim Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Chair, and to the Commission. Lyle Muhammad, Executive Director, Circle of Brotherhood, 5120 Northwest 24th Avenue, item RE12. Some concerns. Starting with, a lot of people don't understand that as an organization, we're watchmen for the community. And restore the trust is not just a slogan. It's an attempt to restore things that have been broken. And there's 3 perplexing things on the issue to me. One dealing with the tongue. There have been 2 promised community meetings that have never taken place. That's a forked tongue. The other's the ears. There seems to be cotton in the ears in reference to having input from the community. And the third is the mind. There are some great minds that have been aligned. And God knows, as we open up in prayer here all the time, if there was an invitation for those minds to work together, what could be created? We're not going anywhere when it comes to the public's interest in having input. Would love to see those 2 promised meetings take place, and would love to see the public meeting of the trust that is now in place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commission. Leroy Jones, Circle of Brotherhood, 5120 Northwest 21st Street. Everybody know where I stand as relates to the trust. My whole concern is restoring the trust. The wrong that was done, we can't move forward until we correct it. That's all I've been talking about day one. What went down here as it relates to remove the trust members, the way it played out, the way it went, it was unfair. It was not right. Let's restore the trust so we can move forward. Let's have the community meeting so we can move forward. We can all work together. We can disagree to disagree, but we have to restore the trust. We have to correct the wrong that was done. And look, everybody make mistakes. Everybody do things that they wish they can change. And if you're alive, you can change it. There's nothing wrong with that. We all human. We all subject to human error. Let's wrong the right by restoring the trust. And also my closing comment, Mr. Cruz, I'm down with you. I support you. Support that seawall. So whatever Mr. Cruz support, I commend you for working hard on this, brother. Continue to fight. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Welcome, Commissioner Covo. First time that I have the pleasure to meet you. And good morning, Commissioner Carollo.
Thank you.
My name is Lorena Ramos, 20 Northwest 45th Street, and I am the president chairperson of the Buena Vista stakeholders. I am here in reference to item PZ4, item PZ5, in regards to the applicant's request for rezoning. From the very beginning, the two relevant homeowner associations in our neighborhood worked together from beginning all the way to the PZ, including doing a research of our community as far as the T3Os are concerned. And we did find several, including on Northwest 39. There were 3 of them, which is something that we were seeking as a ceiling in our neighborhood, as opposed to having to fight all the time for the T4L, because we obviously are against anything commercial. We want to keep it residential. T3O would allow us to do that. We did have a community meeting on October 11th, 2022. It was very well attended. The abutting homeowner was very gracious. She and her husband allow us to have the meeting on her front lawn, so we could be right where the vacant lots were. Very, very, very few, I would say only 2 of the maybe 35 people that were present were against it. One was for the T4L, and that's what I mean against it, and one was the other budding neighbor, and he wants to keep a single-family home. And I asked him, why is he against the T3O if it's the same setback and all of that, and the same footprint? He says he just doesn't want it 2 floors. Well, the single family also allows you the 2 floors. We then went on to PZ, and everybody was in agreement, the neighbors as well as the neighborhood associations, but of course not Mr. Alvin Smith. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning to you all. Welcome on board, Ms. Covo. Pleasure, Chairwoman. My name is Carmen Ramos Watson, and I live in 54 Northwest 40th Street, and I'm here representing my parents, William and Rosalina Ramos, of 43 Northwest 39th Street. And I don't remember the exact name of the item, but it's the same one that Lorena Ramos just spoke on. And what I'd like to say is I grew up in this home that my parents currently live in, and it's a neighborhood that I've been very proud of my entire life. I grew up there and have come back home, and I'm happy to support my parents and see the changes that are occurring in our neighborhood. I mean, the truth of the matter is that I'm here to support what is occurring, particularly because we want to see those kind of changes in our neighborhood. As Lorena mentioned, we did have a community meeting that involved both community organizations and members from all over the community, but specifically those on 39th Street. And there were some things very clear. Number one was that no one wants any commercial activity that relates to that block and to our neighborhood. So certainly it was a no to T4L. However, in looking at what exists already 2 blocks down, we saw that there were already T3O designated properties that would allow for there to be residential exclusive development. And so we appreciate and support that. Some things have occurred thereafter. I think that our neighbors, what I was very particularly proud is that we came together and we all agreed of what we wanted. There has been some dissension thereafter, but I propose that there are 26 houses left only in this space on 39th Street that are not designated T3O. My position is that they should all be, and that the neighbors that have stayed when nobody thought that that was a good neighborhood, and back then when it was a crime-infested neighborhood. I grew up there since I was 10 years old, and that was not my experience ever. And so I feel that those houses should get T3O as well, those 26 houses from Northwest, between North Miami Avenue and Northwest 2nd Avenue. That's what I propose.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. I appreciate the service that you guys provide, and I've listened to some of the things that's going on, and as they stated, we all started out trying to work together on this endeavor. And the properties that they were mentioning that were T30 on 39th Street are actually on Buena Vista West side of the neighborhood. It's west of Northwest 2nd Avenue. There's nothing on Buena Vista Heights side of the neighborhood that is T30. And the abutting neighbor, the Smith family that they mentioned, they're in opposition of any zoning changes in that neighborhood, and they didn't want the multifamily units adjacent to their homes. There's also no justification as far as the current zoning not being suitable or correct for the neighborhood. So there's really like no reason other than greed to rezone the neighborhood. There also were some things that were passed out, that was proposed, that the two abutting houses would be able to get storm windows and doors as a concession, as well as parking. These are things that were proposed for the neighborhood. I'm not certain if they're gonna bring it up, but the opponents may bring those things up. But if you look at the signed document, the property that they're proposing to put those windows and doors in, they signed this morning and stated that they were in opposition to any of this, even though they have a concession to get storm windows and doors. Sorry, but I'm not really feeling that good this morning because of medical conditions and stuff going on, but there's just so many other things. But this is something that try to work together with, and I've got people that are coming to me, and you've got signatures, and mostly all those signatures are from 39th Street, and they're in opposition of changing the code zoning. I don't know, I know you guys know who I am, but I'm gonna state my name and address because I don't think I did at the beginning. My name is Ulysses Kemp, 76 Northwest 39th Street, Miami.
Thank you.
Commissioner King, Elvis Cruz, 631 Northeast 57th Street. Commissioner King, please put on your lawyer hat. I'm speaking on items 4 and 5 in support of Ulysses Kemp. Under Miami 21, Section 7128 C2G, the applicant is required to submit an analysis that explains why the zoning is inappropriate, as I've highlighted on the handout. But their application does not include that required explanation. It does not even include the word inappropriate because they can't explain why the existing zoning is inappropriate for the simple reason that single-family zoning in this neighborhood
Do you mean to use the word inappropriate or appropriate?
They have to show why the existing zoning is inappropriate.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. And single-family zoning in this neighborhood and throughout the city of Miami is appropriate. In fact, Assistant Planning Director David Snow was asked by the chair at the January 18th PZAB if this existing single-family zoning is appropriate, and he said it is appropriate. Therefore, according to Miami 21, this zoning change should not be allowed, period. This is a departure from an essential requirement of law. That's grounds for a successful writ of certiorari. Please don't make these neighbors go to court to get the city to enforce its own zoning laws. Moreover, the applicant's analysis was for an upzoning to T4L. No analysis was done on upzoning to duplex, T30, and yet that's what they want you to give them. That fact alone should be grounds to reject the application. Some property owners are putting their own personal profit motivation above the importance of preserving the zoning integrity of the neighborhood. Money can do funny things to people, but we, the people, expect our city government to protect and preserve our neighborhoods. This proposed upzoning to duplex would never happen in South Grove, Coral Gate, The Roads, Morningside, or Belmead. Buena Vista Heights deserves the same respect and protection as those other neighborhoods. There is no hardship here, no valid reason to approve this subzoning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak for public comment that hasn't spoken already? Seeing none, the public comment period is closed, and we will move forward. May I have a motion for pocket item number 2, the resolution to accept the funds that were given to us by Congresswoman Frederica Wilson? Motion? All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion for the consent agenda? Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda passes.
Madam Chair, did you have a motion for pocket item 1 already?
I thought that was a discussion item, so I'm going to leave that for a while. 1, 2, 3, it's 4 of us. May I have a motion for PH 2 through 6?
There's a motion with the additional correction. PH 6, which I am sponsoring, is listed as all in 1 year. This
So
should be,
we need to make a couple of adjustments. I believe we have to, for PH 6.
Okay, I got you.
That item is, instead of 50,000 in 1 year, it's supposed to be divided in a
2 years.
distribution of 25,000 would be done in the current fiscal year, and the second and final distribution of 25,000 would be done in the next fiscal year for the
Correct.
purposes identified.
correct.
But I need to, hold on a second, I need to take something out of order before we can pass PH 6. So can I have a motion for,
Well, we're just going to take that one item out, and then you could do the block
okay.
voting.
Okay, so let's take PH 6 out, and may I have a motion to pass PH 2 through 5?
Yes, move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. May I have a motion for our RE items, RE 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 as amended, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Madam Chair,
I'll
we have
second
to do a couple things on the REs. We need to pull RE9 from the block voting, that's a mitigation.
Oh, that's right.
RE7, you received a link with regard to additional information on the Wynwood bid, and we're also providing a hard copy to the clerk's office. It's just backup materials. And then I believe that we need to pull RE5 and 11 from your block voting.
5 and 11? Well,
Yes.
I took out RE3 because I
Why?
thought maybe
The
there,
RE3 is
right,
controversial.
right. That's
Well-
the Morningside issue. I thought maybe you might want to have some discussion. So may I have a motion to pass RE1, 2, 4, not 5, right?
Yeah, no, 5,
4, 6,
7,
7 as amended.
9.
No, not 9.
No, no, no.
10 and 12.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, can we go back and revisit PH 6?
Then, Madam Chair, if you can pass RE5 and 11 before you do PH 6.
May I have a motion for RE5 and 11?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then you could pass PH 6. Thank you.
Now, may I have a motion to pass PH 6?
Move with the amendments as described by the city attorney.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a mitigation, RE9.
And
Let's hear
Chair,
that
just
now.
before A9, my apologies, just for the record for RE7, which was amended, the amendment includes a clarification for a resolution number in the legislation. Exhibit B2 is being substituted, Exhibit C is being substituted, and some backup documents are being substituted, just for the record.
Okay. We'll hear RE9 now. Is there an attorney that's going to?
Mr. Niemans is presenting it. He should be here shortly.
Good morning.
Good morning, Honorable Commission. Eric Nimmons, Code Compliance. This is a resolution for the Commission to hear on a mitigation for Address 212 Northwest 11th Street. The property had several code compliance. It's a commercial, multi-unit business property. The property was cited in 2011 for no certificate of use and no valid business tax receipt. The case was complied. All the tenants were removed. The lien ran for 123 days with a lien total of $105,750. The owner is not a repeat violator, and the owner is offering a mitigation of $5,000.
For how much? How much is the total?
The total lien is $105,750, ma'am, and the owner is offering a mitigation of $5,000. The assessed property value is $404,472.
Is the property for sale?
I believe the property is for sale.
And what is the sale price?
I believe it's $1.4 million.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Go ahead.
we have established, I think it's a rule, almost a rule, that we ask also for 10%.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
That is correct.
we will mitigate. But
This is a commercial property, though, so for me, I've established a policy where if it's a commercial property, we're asking for 25%.
25%?
Yes.
Well, that's
So we
a
can.
little bit high. I mean, it's higher than well, power to it.
There's a concern, it's probably more a question for our city attorney than for you, Madam Chair, if I may. It seems arbitrary to me, right? Some meetings we do 7%, other meetings we do 10%, now it's 25%, and on a case-by-case basis, this arbitrariness may lead us to some legal issues moving forward. Is that the case?
Okay, so I know that the commission has sometimes looked at a 10% or a 25%, but at the end of the day, it is always based on the case at hand. We have to hear the applicant for the mitigation and see what factors would lead this commission to make a decision.
But besides the applicant, I haven't heard a case yet why this one should be 25 vis-a-vis one being 10 and one being 7, and the commissioner said that the chairwoman said that she wanted this with this particular case. Maybe they can make the case.
No, I'm waiting for them to make the.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. But you said you recommended 25% in this case,
For
and
commercial prop-
Commissioner.
Not this case, but for commercial
For
properties
commercial.
in my district.
In your district, but that's a problem. Because one district is this, one district is that, this case is this, that case is that.
Well,
You have to have a policy with certain parameters or certain guidelines. You have to have a policy in place that says, otherwise it could be, whatever number we come up with.
That's
It's
right,
gotta be,
but-
well,
Madam
let me finish.
Okay, go right ahead and finish. You've been repeating that.
No, I haven't beat anything. I'm making a point, and points require some time. And I'm actually following up on your point. You were the one that brought up the fact that it's 25% vis-a-vis another case being 10 and 10 and 10, then 7. So to me, I want to know what the reasoning is, and maybe they can give us that reasoning so that we're consistent in what we're doing here. Apart from the 3 factors that we take into place, constant violators, repeat offenders, those kind of things that we put, life safety issues that we take into account, besides those points.
Madam Chair, Just to answer the question of Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla, the only thing that I brought up is that we have been consistent. And correct me if I'm wrong, Madam City Attorney, throughout all the mitigations, we have been consistent asking a minimum of 10%. That's a minimum. That's a minimum.
Yes,
That's the only
depending on
thing
the
that I was
factors.
reminding everybody that we have been consistent on that. If we want to change that, it is the will of the commission to change it up or down. I agree. It's fine with me as long as we are taking into considerations if it has been a constant violator or what this is going to be sold for $1 million. You see, and that all those different I would say that conditions that have been explained have to be taken into consideration, but we have been consistent on 10%, and that's the only thing. Now, if we want to change it from one way or the other, we change it. But,
Right. I think based on the facts that have been presented at each hearing, it has been more or less that amount, but each case is pretty much on a case-by-case basis, depending on the facts, as shown in each item, whether it's a repeat violator, what happened with each property, and those things. So right now, I think we need to hear from the applicant to see what his proposition is and the facts, in addition to what we heard from Mr. Neiman's, so that the commission can make a decision. And I also wanted to list for the record that a Jennings disclosure that you were briefed by staff and the city attorney on this item to give you the background of the money, of the liens that were owed, the value of the property, and that type of information. But if the applicant can speak now, it would be great.
Before you do, Chair, can I ask a brief question? Is this property residential or commercial?
It's a commercial property, sir.
Commercial property.
Yeah,
So we need to now let them have, let them make their statement so we don't.
I just wanted to know if
Yeah,
it was
it's a
residential.
commercial property. Go right ahead, Mr. Wolin. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, Mayor, members of the commission. My name is Frank Woland. I'm an attorney, and I represent Complex Transactions. Stand up, Mr. Fogel. This is Mr. Fogel. He's the owner. He's a longtime resident. Mr. Mayor, to answer your question, the property is commercial and residential. The first floor is laid out with 3 commercial spaces. The second floor is residential. There are actually 2 apartments, but for the last 5 years, Mr. Fogel personally has been living there on the second floor. It's his residence. You know, they're in Overtown. It's the only way he could keep his business and his property safe. And so to also touch very briefly and, confirm what the city attorney just said, and my understanding as an attorney for 44 years, there are no standards for mitigation and for resolution of this kind of matter. It's completely in the discretion of the commission, and you base it on the circumstances in each case. And you may have a history of doing it one way or another, but there's really no rule. It's totally in your discretion. I want to try to give you the history of this, and I apologize, it'll take about 2 or 3 minutes, but I think it's necessary to have you all understand exactly what happened, because Mr. Fogel does have a hardship, and he's had this property since 1997. It's 25 years. And unfortunately, in August of 2020, he leased 2 of the 3 spaces on the first floor to a gentleman named Mr. Martin Johnson, who was going to open up a takeout deli. And Mr. Johnson moved in. He began operating. He refused to get a license or a certificate of use or to pay the BTU. And Mr. Fogel could not do this in spite of him because it's not his business. He couldn't sign for it. And code enforcement came and they cited Mr. Fogel. He asked them to cite the tenant. They said, no, we're going to cite you, which that is their right, and I understand why they would do that. But as the owner, he was cited in January of 22. And council said that he was cited in 2011. I think, no.
It was 2021, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry.
2021.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, it hasn't been 10 years, it was 1 year. And within 2 months after getting cited, he was in the court trying to evict the tenant. And the tenant was well represented. The matter is still going on now. There are more than 50 docket entries. So it's not easy to evict someone in the courts, especially in 2022 when we were at the height of COVID. And so he did his best, and we were successful in February of this year in getting the tenant to move. He moved 1 day before a hearing where the judge was going to throw him out. So right after that, we asked code to come back. They said, yes, you don't need a BTU, you don't need a C, you need nothing because your tenant is gone. You are in compliance. And meanwhile, not only did he lose because the tenant didn't pay rent for about a year, but the tenant didn't pay, he didn't pay the utilities. Mr. Fogel could not pay his mortgage. He hasn't paid his mortgage for more than a year. He owes 2 years of taxes, and he's in financial distress, and he's forced to sell the building, which he's had for 25 years. He would like to keep it, but he can't. The financial reality is otherwise.
Excuse me for 1 second.
Sir.
Have we verified that he's 2 years in arrears in taxes?
The attorney asserted that he hasn't paid his, he didn't pay his, hasn't mortgage or taxes.
No.
Mayor,
I'm trying to verify if you have verified, or anyone in the city has verified, that in fact what the attorney said is accurate.
Oh, I wanted to clarify.
2 years in arrears in the taxes.
So I'm not sure about the taxes, sir, but I wanted to clarify something that the attorney said. He stated that his tenants did not have certificate of uses and BTRs. They could not get it. That is correct. But part of the reason why they could not get a certificate of use or BTR is because he did not get a BTR or certificate of use for his multi-use building. So when you have a multi-use building and you are a landlord, you have to have a certificate of use and a business tax receipt to conduct business and have lessees in your building. And the owner, he did not.
Mr. Mayor, my understanding, first of all, is that, and I'm privy and can furnish you in 60 seconds a copy of the title commitment, which reflects, and Mr. Fogel has corrected me, that the taxes are 3 years in arrears. And Mr. Fogel's understanding in terms of the violation, because the only use, commercial use in the building was that of Mr. Johnson and the deli takeout. He was living in the building, so, you know, he was residing in it, and that may be another issue, but he was not cited for that. And to his knowledge, I mean, he is a good citizen. He got his 50-year, compliance 3 years ago. He has spent money when he could on the building. It's well maintained. He cleans up the properties around him. He doesn't have a history of code enforcement problems. He's a good citizen and a good history, and he's an asset to the Overtown neighborhood. And it's unfortunate that he's forced now, because of these circumstances, to sell his property. So we would respectfully ask that you consider the mitigation. He does have a pending sale, but he can't proceed, without it.
If I may ask through the chair, the violations that were there before were the ones, and only the ones that you cited, that he hadn't gotten his CU for the building?
Well, there are multiple, sir. There was the one for the building, commercial building, not having a certificate of use in BTR, and then we cited several of his tenants. He had, as he said, he had the 11th Street takeout, that didn't have a BTR or CU. There was a
But
fresh,
the 11th Street takeout, was that part of the people that he leased to that?
yes, sir.
poured in?
Couldn't get it.
Yeah, these are all his leases. There was the Fresh and Nice Caribbean Restaurant. They could not get a certificate of use and a BTR either. And then there was Healthy Island Inc. I don't know what that one was. And they attempted to get a CU and a BTR on 3 different occasions.
Okay.
The
So,
same tenant,
the-
they changed their name.
Well, it's the same tenant, but I understand there's different leases. But what I'm hearing is that this is not, that this man was out there like some that we've had before us or others that we haven't had before us, doing all kinds of work for hundreds of thousands of dollars, in illegal construction. He got caught, and then that's the problem, why they couldn't get it.
Yes, sir, you're correct.
And I want to make sure we're laying the groundwork, because there are numerous others out there that are going to come crying with alligator tears, but it's not going to be the same reason that they're presenting to us here today. It's going to be for reasons that no way in the world am I going to be looking to give them any kind of a break. Here's the case. Look, your building, and I was trying to find out on the taxes myself here, but your building's how many square feet? Approximately.
Sir, if you could speak on in the microphone, please.
It's approximately 2,000 square feet, up 1,000 bottom, 1,000 top.
Small building.
Yes, sir.
It's a small lot, I would imagine.
Yes.
Do you own any other properties in the city now? Do you own any other properties?
Yes, sir.
What properties do you own?
7318 Northwest 7th Ave and 700 Northwest 74th.
Okay, and what are those properties?
Please speak into the mic. He cannot hear you.
You want me to repeat the address?
Yes, please.
7318 Northwest 7th Avenue, Miami 33150. 700 Northwest 74th Street, Miami 33150. They're adjoining, they're
Right.
assembled.
And what are those properties?
A pawn shop and a duplex.
Okay. Does he have any problems in those?
I'm not aware of his other properties, sir. I would have to do some research and get back to you, but
Okay,
I
well,
can get those properties for you.
Have you had any problems in those?
I've owned that property for 33 years. So over the time, I've had some issues, but nothing ever real serious. As of right now, no problems,
look-
Chairman Croyo.
It's obvious to me that this is not a rich man. This is not a guy that's out there trying to constantly spend properties. He's living there himself. I would give him the benefit of the doubt that he might not have known that he had to get that CU for the building. And
Chair.
Yes.
This property is in my district. I'm quite familiar with the issues of this property. Sir, did you say you had a restaurant in your property, Healthy Island? Healthy Island?
Chairwoman King, yes, it's the one with, I know you visited there, and I know you know Mr. Johnson, and it has your big picture in his
Right.
window, yes.
That business owner, his business was disrupted. He is now out of business because he could not get a CU or a BTR as stated in his lease, and then he was sued to get out of the property because he couldn't get a CU or a BTR, but he never could have gotten a CU or a BTR because the property owner didn't do what he was supposed to so that the tenants could get.
That's clear to me. That's where I was going next.
So
the
it is
reason-
my position, because this is a situation where I consider the owner to be a bad actor. 2 businesses were put out of business because they had to get out of the property. They were, one, the cell phone operator that fixed cell phones, he was just evicted and left. And Mr. Martin has lost his business, which we can't afford to have, and of no fault of their own, could they not obtain the necessary paperwork to operate their businesses legitimate, although they were entered into a lease, said that they would have a lease for X amount of years to operate their business?
Well, it's very clear to me, Chair, that he is at fault for whatever happened to those tenants. There's no way they could have gotten a CU, a BTR, if he didn't have that. Now, what makes me wonder is, obviously, maybe in the beginning, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't know. But obviously, the tenants had to let him know, hey, listen, we can't get this for these reasons. You are the one that has to clear this first so we could get our BTU, our CU and BTR. And that didn't happen, apparently. So he's at fault, and then what I'm hearing is that he's selling the property. Now, obviously, I don't know what he owes on it now, but he's going to sell it for a decent amount.
Commissioner, based on your question, the taxes owed are $28,935.35.
For how many years?
It seems, and I'm not an expert at reading this, but it seems that 2016, 2015,
Well, it'll
2014.
say paid or not if you go on the
2013.
website. That's what I was trying to do before.
Right, so it looks, if it says 2022 annual bill, 2021 annual bill, and 2020 annual bill, and when you add that up, it says $28,935.35, and then it says
Just a
add to
question.
cart to pay, so
Just
that's,
a simple question. How long, how many years you have to be in arrears for your taxes be sold and the...
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
It's 3
That's-
years normally, but normally what happens is people have to buy the tax certificates, and it doesn't look like anyone's purchased them yet to
Chair,
force the
what is
sale.
the will of the
It
chair?
is my recommendation to request 25% of the total amount of liens. I
think
would,
it's a fair amount.
I would, my instinct says to ask for it all, because businesses were hurt, businesses were put out of business, and they invested in the community, they put their hard-earned work. The restaurant established a following in that, and they just had to shutter with no consideration. So
Is that your motion?
my motion is for
You can't make a motion, but I'll make it for you. 25% would be recommended.
25%.
Madam Chair,
I second that.
Okay.
Got
Madam
a motion
Chair,
and a second?
Madam Chair,
Oh, that's coming from you.
yeah, we would like an opportunity to address your remarks, please,
I think-
factually speaking.
Go right ahead.
I think
Thank
you should quit. I think 25% is
So-
fair.
Sir, no, at 25%, his sale fails, he stays, the property's empty,
Okay.
and he'll suffer, and the lawsuit continues. However, I do want you all to have the benefit of the true and accurate facts. Please.
He
Okay.
has the right to
Yeah, I understand.
answer.
Um,
Go ahead, sir.
First of all, the fact that he complies with the law and has always tried to comply with the law is obvious from his record. And he got his 50-year in 2021. He's invested a lot of money in his property, roof, electric, everything. Now, why he would want to have a tenant who's not paying rent, who's not paying utilities, and why he would want to have a $250 a day fine running on him when he's not having a tenant, he's paying lawyers to try to get rid of the tenant. If this was a property he could have solved, problem he could have solved, he would have solved it. I would have helped him solve it. There was no way, as long as the tenant was there, no CU, and that's what he was cited for. That's what this fine is about, if you look at the citation. So I mean, it defies logic, and we respectfully, again, ask that you, I mean, the person who's invested in the neighborhood is this gentleman, Mr. Focal. And he, for 25 years, and he, it's a good building, he works hard for it, he lives there himself, and his tenant, obviously a supporter of Ms. King, they've got her picture in the window, not paying the rent, not paying the utilities, it's all a matter of record. I have the whole court file.
But did he take care, look, I'll be very frank with you. If I would have rented the place from him, and I'm told after I invest money in fixing it up, I go to the city to get my CU and BTR, and I'm told, we can't issue it to you because your landlord in the building needs this, and he hasn't gotten it. You know what? I wouldn't pay rent either until he would resolve that.
Mr. Vice Chairman, that is exactly not what happened, and I'd ask him to testify under oath here today and put the facts on the record.
Be careful.
That's okay. Go
Be
ahead.
careful.
Okay.
Tell them what happened.
Well, first I'd like to say I've had two, the 40-year and most recently the 50-year recertification. Upon the 50-year recertification, I had to redo the whole electric, everything, from the pole in, everything. So, no.
Talk about the BTU. Talk about the certificate of use.
Well, the certificate of use is on the tenant for whatever business they're going to put in there. My building was legit. I received a certificate of occupancy and my 50-year recertification. Electric could get hooked up. I could go back into the building. When they did my 50-year recertification, it was for upstairs as well as downstairs. I was 100% legit and on time. And then I put it for rent. The cell phone, which moved in and the cell phone company and Mr. Johnson, both, they got their, Mr. Johnson got his state license, he got his county license, but refused to get the city license because he didn't want to go through and get permits to do what he had to do on the inside. He said it was my responsibility. That's exactly what happened. It is zoned. It's zoned for, it's very liberal zoning over there. And he just refused to apply for his certificate of use and his business tax license because he didn't want to get permits for the work that he was starting on the inside of the place.
Mr. City Attorney, is that property zoned for restaurant use?
I wanted to clarify, I'm sorry, I wanted to clarify for the record, Mr. Niemans is the Assistant Director of Code Enforcement. He's not an Assistant City Attorney, though we would love to have him.
Okay.
I thought that she was, Madam Chairwoman was addressing you, Madam City Attorney.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the property zoned for restaurant use?
The property is in a multi-use area, so I mean, I'd have to
But
look and see exactly what it's zoned for. But there can be commercial use there.
Chair?
I am quite familiar with the facts of this case, and I stand with my recommendation of 25%.
Madam Chair, if we could just ask, is there an offer that the applicant was willing to offer the board?
They made an offer of 5%.
And we would be certainly satisfied with the 10% that, you know, that as a matter of practice, the commission has levied in the past. I do
I think
believe,
that's been clarified. I think there's a motion on the table and a
There is a
second
motion.
for 25%.
Yeah. My
So I call the
last
question.
question, to leave it for staff on the record. He's talking about the 40, 50 years, but the bottom line is, did he have a CU, BTR?
No, sir, he did not have a CU or BTR.
That's the reason that those establishments could not get theirs.
That is correct, sir. That's one of the main reasons.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
As amended?
That's well, yes, amended, 25,000, 25% rather.
Just to clarify, 25% of the
Hundred.
$105,750 amount?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
That's a total amount?
105,750 is the total lien amount, so the payment will be 25% of that.
Okay, yes.
Thank you.
We have Commissioner Koval, would you like to take up?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
RE3?
Madam Chair, I believe that Commissioner Koval wanted a presentation from staff.
For
For RE3, for the Morningside.
Okay. All right.
Because I have to ask some questions regarding the city plan.
Is that ready today? Or you want to start?
No, today.
Chair, and just for the record, the district's impacted reference in the agenda mistakenly shows District 5. The district's impacted reference needs to show
two.
District 2.
Yes.
Is staff here?
Yeah, they're here. Just on the shoreline, not the complete city plan, please.
That's the last RE item we have. RE3. RE3, Morningside. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, Lillian Blondet, Director of Grants Administration. I just wanted to talk a little bit about RE3, because what this resolution does is a couple of things are required by FIND. With the applications, we have to submit a resolution that does several things. One, we're authorized to apply for the grant. Another one, we're authorized to accept the funding. And more importantly, it tells FIND that we're going to have the funding for the match if we are recommended for funding and the project. This application for FIND was due March 28th. We submitted an application, and it was incomplete because we didn't have a resolution. So now that will fix that deficiency. We're also waiting to hear from FIND to see if they want to hear more information on this project. And the application that was submitted is for a project that is the bulkhead and baywalk and improvements to the boat ramp and the trailer park. And I think now Mr. Badilla is going to give a little more detail on the project per se.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
The chair? Madam,
I'll ask it. Is the funding tied completely to the current plan of the city? Because here's what's happening, and to my fellow commissioners to see what I've inherited technically from the past 30-something days in office. I've visited Morningside. I did a mobile office already there. I've seen Mr. Cruz's presentation several times. And I've also met with the new leaders of the MCA. We saw what happened these past days with the flooding. We're coming into hurricane season. There's a lot of help that Morningside needs for mitigation of climate change situations. But this week only, I got 40 emails in opposition and 30 of support. So I'm split on what the community really wants. But what worries me is that they do need the funding because we cannot wait 3 or 4 more years for Morningside to get the help. So that's my concern right now. If we could keep the funding, but then socialize what could be done on the park, I don't know if at this point we can do that.
So there's a lot more history to this project in terms of public meetings. There were, how many did we do? 4? At least 4 public meetings that presented the plan, got feedback. So this plan is based off a number of public meetings. So the responses you're getting, and this is kind of the problem we run into sometimes when we get feedback item by item. This particular project has a significant amount of history to it. And as a result, the plan that was generated was based on all of that feedback we got from the community and the people that were present at the various public meetings. So this clearly wasn't done, in a bubble. It wasn't in a sterile environment. It was really done based on a lot of public input. So, staff fully supports the plan as presented. We've worked hard on it. The FIND grant is an exceptional opportunity for us to have, a source of funding to be able to fund it. So, we would respectfully request we have the ability to move forward with it. It's kind of been delayed. A lot of the elements of Morningside Park have taken a really long time to come to fruition because we get a lot of feedback and a lot of back and forth. But, I'd hate for us to delay it even further. I think it might put the grant in jeopardy, correct, Lillian? So
So it would put the grant in jeopardy.
When
So
we-
technically, the question was, is the funding tied to the current plan only?
It's tied to an application and a project scope. First, we're applying, so we're pretty sure, or we're hoping we get the money from fines.
We cannot
'cause we're-
amend the plan if afterwards we...
The plans could be amended if it's a minor change. Their staff could approve it. If it's a major change or changes the scope of the project that was approved, they may just ask us to go back to the fine board and reassess the project and see if they want to move forward.
I'd ask, I have one question. When you have, why can't the seawall mirror the seawalls in the other parks? Why is the proposal setting the seawall back so far versus other parks like Wainwright Park? And I don't understand that.
And if I may add to that, Madam Chair, and this is the second question, just to make sure. I know that numerous studies have been done by the administration, that we hired experts for it. Is this the first time that we're doing this type of seawall element in the city?
I let Hector.
Because they don't, Madam Chair is right, they don't mirror the other ones. So I just want to make sure that we do something that works.
I'll let Hector go over the design.
If we can go through the presentation, I think it would answer a lot of the questions you may have. So if I may take the opportunity. Hector Badia, Interim Director, Office of Capital Improvements. I'm here today, Ida Curtis from Curtis Rogers Design Studio, and she is her firm is contracted to do the design on Morningside.
Good morning, Commissioners. Aida Curtis. And I guess to go to your point, Commissioner Covo, it is a different situation, what we have at Morningside Park. Our firm was also involved in Alice Wainwright Park, and the condition is completely different there. What we have in Morningside Park is we have a condition which is already natural. We have mangroves all along the edge. There are areas that are open with no mangroves, and we are maintaining those open with no mangroves. To put a seawall at the edge of the water would imply significant impacts to the natural systems, significant removals, not only of mangroves, but also of seagrasses that are already existing in that area. Not to say the least that the agencies, the permitting agencies, would not look at that in a favorable position, which means that it would take years and extra funding for us to try to get that approved. It is not to say that we would get it approved. It may not even be permittable to do that. So that is one of the situations. The other situation...
So I guess that answers one of the questions, Madam Chair. That's actually answering why the seawall, it's inland.
Why it's a different situation than what we have in other areas. I think there was also some, misunderstandings in the presentation, in the comments made. The loop road is intact. We are not doing anything to the loop road. The first image that you saw, Hector, if you go back to that one, the first one, you see the loop road goes all the way around the park, and that is still remaining. We are not doing any work to the loop road. So the loop road is remaining. Also, we have a situation where you have approved design guidelines, and you adopted them in July of 2021, and while most of the city has a hard edge and a seawall along the water, there are situations where you don't. There are areas where you don't. Morningside is one of those. And for those areas, the ordinance says that they allow and encourage the exploration of more natural areas where possible. And a waterfront, where possible, they encourage the exploration of these waterfront edges, softer edges that will absorb and dissipate wave energy
through sloped and terrace embankments and a combination of horizontal and vertical surfaces. So your ordinance allows and encourages the exploration of alternative bulkheads when the conditions present themselves, such as the situation in Morningside Park.
Thank you.
Who sponsored that ordinance?
I don't know who sponsored that ordinance. I don't have that
Well, you
information.
cited it, you don't have that information.
Excuse me?
You cited it, that's why I'm wondering if you're
I
familiar with
cited it because it was approved by the City of Miami Commission in July 2021, and it's the ordinance for the Baywalk design guidelines.
Okay. Do you
that
know-
is in there.
Do you know who sponsored that ordinance?
I don't know who the sponsor was. No.
I would probably guess. And so the logical question is this driven by any previous commissioner from District 2? Was he involved in this planning, during all these years of planning?
Yeah, our department was involved in the development of the Baywalk ordinance, sir.
It's part of your Miami 21 code. I'm not sure what.
What is this plan that you're presenting, Mr. Manager, was it driven in any way, shape, or form of the former commissioner from this district?
I would suspect he had involvement in it because it was
did
the
you have
Baywalk and it was his district. So I'm
Did you
assuming
have
he had-
any conversations with him about that?
I didn't personally, but I mean, he more than likely was involved. I'm sure the clerk's office is looking up who sponsored the item, and they'll be able to probably tell you in a minute.
I just want to make sure we don't get trapped by a past bad decision, right?
That's what I'm trying to say.
agree
Like
with you, yeah.
I'm not an expert on flooding. I just see what's happening.
None of us are. That's right.
But I do believe that we need to do something, and I would hate to not, get the funding to help Morningside Park. I just don't know what's the right equation because it's a plan that it was there before me.
Could we walk through the
Madam Chair?
presentation, I think?
Well, I have, Madam Chair.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Because this is for the grant writer. What we are discussing here is accepting the fine grant, right?
We're requesting authorization to submit the application and the
To
project.
submit the application.
We still have to go
But it is that application tied to, it is
To a scope of work.
to a scope of work that is to the plan, that plan or the other plan, whatever it is.
It's this plan that.
Is that cast in stone, cannot be changed?
The project could be changed if there are a lot of changes that, if approved and funded, fine board may request and require a meeting. Also, we have to have the permits for the project we're requesting funding for.
Can I clarify something? Because there's a little bit of nuance to what he's asking, and I want to make sure
Yes.
we answer it correctly. If you change the scope of work now, we cannot apply for the fine grant. Because if you apply
Okay.
for it and then change it afterwards, you put it at risk. We need to have a set scope before we
set
submit the
scope
application.
of work, and the grant is going to be granted. Based on the scope of work that it is presented, and that cannot be changed. If we change it, then we have to reapply again, right?
Correct.
Next year, yes. And it requires, the application requires that the
We're gonna have
permits
to-
are
I wanna-
available or issued for the project that you apply funding for in mid-September. Otherwise, the grants don't get funded.
Well, may I?
Yeah.
Because I was in a similar situation. If you don't do the scope pursuant to the fine grant, you can give it back, because that's what I did for Legion Park. The proposal didn't make sense for our community, and instead of being held hostage by the grant, I gave the grant back, and we did for Legion Park what made most sense for its constituents. So I wouldn't personally make my decision based on receiving a grant if it doesn't make sense for the community. I just want to give you that information.
So I have a question regarding that. If that's the case and we give the grant back, how much of a delay we're going to be getting for the, again, I think the city, I saw the city plan, I've seen the presentation 3 times. And it's very environmentally friendly, like you mentioned.
And it has a lot of benefits for the community that we haven't gone through yet.
I'm concerned about the nature. I'm concerned about the mangroves. I like mangroves myself. I come from a city in the Caribbean. But this is what concerns me. I'm getting divided emails into my office.
Well,
So that really concerns me. That's my only question.
I recommend, Madam Chairwoman, I recommend that we give the commissioner some time to look at it and and maybe till June. Because you said September, I believe. Somebody said September here. When's the deadline?
No, it's September.
No, I mean, that's the deadline, right?
When's the deadline?
She said September.
Fine will give us until May 15th to submit any, what they call technical sufficiencies, and this is one of those. If not, then we'll apply next year. And the cycle is in March for the following
Did
October
you not
funding.
say September? I heard September coming out.
September is when they make the decision
Okay.
for the funding, the projects are going to be funded. And by then, we have to have all the permits.
And
And
what's
the contracts start October 1st.
By September, okay. What is due on May 15th? This actual plan?
What is called- what is
Let me
called-
finish, please. What is due on May 15th? The actual plan complete?
The application.
The plan complete, or is it subject to addendums and amendments moving forward as they go through that decision-making process?
What they call technical sufficiency,
Yes.
which is any information that was missing from the application or additional information
So
that
in
they
essence,
may want.
in essence, the plan could be altered beyond May 15th, correct? Before they make the decision, correct?
Yes, we go and present to fine in June.
In June, okay, so now we're getting the dates correct. So you present the fine in June. My only issue is if the commissioner from, the newly elected commissioner from District 2, and it's in her district, although it is a park that serves the entire community, but it is her district. It's been contentious for the past 4 or 5 years. She's inheriting something and a plan that's not her doing, that she should have the right to at least take a look at it, analyze it, like or dislike it, and recommend to the rest of us what she thinks should happen based on all available information, not on what the administration may want to do today. Give her the time, is what I would recommend.
I have a question.
Not too
If-
much, I mean, maybe
I
June.
have a question, I think it's very fair. If this had been in the works under Commissioner Russell for so long, why are we voting on this now? I mean, the community should be very concerned, very concerned.
Probably because the plan stinks, and probably because the people in this commission did not like the plan from the beginning. I haven't liked it, I got here in 2019. He's been working on this for 5 years. As far as I know how long he's been thinking about it. So to me, to adopt something just because you were going down the wrong path to begin with, and because it's there, it's finished, and you got to the wrong place, and now we have to adopt it today just simply because you've been working on it for 5 years, doesn't make sense.
Well,
It's what's good for that community, what's good for the park, what the people in the district want. The commission has received 41, I think she said, against, and 4 and 31 against.
Almost tied, because it's not only the emails. I mean, I've been at the MCA meetings,
Sure.
and I've seen that a lot of people want it. I've also spoken to Mr. Cruz, that a lot of people don't want it. So
what's
at the
wrong-
end of the
what's wrong-
day,
What's
I
wrong
just,
with time? What's wrong with this getting?
the grant,
If
Well,
they're-
the grant, we already
that they
established.
get a delay of 1 more year.
Well,
No,
can I?
that's not true.
If
No
I
problem.
can offer a clarification on the grant, please? Yes. The grant is also requiring all permits to be done by September 15th.
September, correct.
Okay. If we move the seawall to the water, as it has been requested, permits would have to be acquired by many, many other agencies, which they are not being acquired at the moment because we are not touching the mean high water line. So once we start touching state waters, we end up having permits from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and all other permits. And that is it's a lengthy and costly process. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it certainly would not be able to be accomplished by September.
I'm going to, Madam Chair, just one last comment. I'm going to defer to what the commissioner from the 2nd District wants. It's your district, you represent it. I think you made a bet, all of you made a bet and you want us to lay in it. I don't think the plan is a good plan. I think we have better alternatives. I do agree with Mr. Cruz on many of his points. The 77 feet setback is a mistake, in my opinion. The pool placement is a mistake, in my opinion. I know the park very well. I played in the park when I was growing up. My parents lived by there. Not in Morningside, but near there. And so to me, I think it's a mistake. Just because you start something and something that's not working and something doesn't make sense, that you have to vote it out because some last minute, in 2 months, we have a deadline and, we have to pass something that's not a good idea. I think this is a bad idea as is, and at least we should have the opportunity to correct and make it a better idea. That's just my opinion.
With all due respect, Commissioner de la Portilla, the 77th Street setback, there is also a walkway that is much closer to the water. And we are preserving all of the existing views, and the pool can still happen. It is not part of this program, but it can still be accommodated within the area where it is,
Madam
where
Chair,
it was. So that is still possible. That is not,
if I may, I have a question. How much longer do we have before do we have to present this or pass this resolution? How much?
With the current scope?
Yes, with the current scope, how long do we have? Because what I'm trying to do now is, let's provide the commissioner additional time, not until September or something, if you need some additional time, and you make up your mind.
30 more days, but my question again is, if we just pass the grant, or if we return it, like, I need more information on that. Can we just make amendments to the plan, or no?
Let me clarify something, because we did it at the chairwoman's request, we did give back the funding and change the scope, right, on that fine project. But that didn't reflect well on the city, by the way. And if that becomes a pattern, it will impact our ability to get future fine money. So you can't start creating an expectation that we can just pull the money back, because then fine's going to go, well, are these projects for real? Are you on the same page? I mean, you understand, it's a board, they vote on it, and we get feedback from them. So I don't want us to get in the habit of applying, accepting, and then giving the money back. That can be the exception every once in a while, but it can't be. We can't consistently do that, because if we do, it will impact our ability to get future money.
However, the exception was done because it happened to Madam Chair when she just got here and she inherited a plan. So what I'm trying to tell you, Mr. Manager, is that I'm interested in getting the funding to help the park. And it's not that I dislike the city plan. I think it looks amazing. And it looks better than the seawall on the shore. I just want to make sure that it's 100% effective, and I need a little bit more of the time. That's all that I'm requesting.
My question is, how much time do we have before we have to apply? Do we have a period of time that we can give the commissioner for her to analyze and make up your mind? Let's grant her with that time, and then let's bring this back within the application that
You know what?
The technical sufficiency has to be finished May 15th.
You know what I was always curious about? We never had an alternative plan. Like, we never had an alternative plan where we would see what the other half of the residents were asking for. This is what was proposed, but the plan to show this is what the other side wanted and why this worked or why it didn't work. That always troubled me, why we didn't have an alternative plan.
Commissioner, we had multiple meetings with alternatives for the park itself.
Chair, if I may suggest this, Commissioner Cobo, if we have to call a special meeting for this, I have no problem in doing it.
So give it time.
So we'll give you all the leeway that you need.
That's right.
Can I make a recommendation just for a timing purpose? Why don't we defer this to the May 11th meeting? It still gives us a little bit of time to submit everything if we need to. It'll give you
4
an
days.
opportunity to process what you need to
4
process.
days. It gives us 4 days, right? So it's May
yeah,
15th.
But 4 days is not a problem if because it's a yes or no. It's either we're going to submit the grant or we're not at May 11th. You're not extended. It's either yes, we're going to make this cycle, or we're not, and then we'll just kick it to next year.
Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to review. Is there a record of those meetings that were socialized with the community? Were those recorded?
I don't recall if they are recorded. I think that one of them was. But we have records of those meetings.
Exactly. So let's defer it to the May 11th. I'm going to review those town hall meetings, and then we make the decision.
I'll second that. That's a
We
move.
have a motion and a second to defer RE3. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm going to call a recess now, and we will return at 2 o'clock.
Okay. I have ribs for you, Commissioner Carroll, and for you too, Commissioner Reyes. I don't know if you eat ribs or not, but I know you don't. So we have Flanagan ribs in the office.
Flanagan.